Welcome ladies and gentlemen, Michael aka Spirit Shard here with an early impressions of ArcheAge, a new free-to-play MOBA that's coming out soon. This is actually open beta that I'm doing this in, and the characters are actually going to get wiped, which is kind of sad. I'm going to miss my cute little character I got here, as you can see on the left. So this is kind of a original MMO, I'd say. It seems at first like it's kind of like generic and kind of the same as everything else, but like after you get into it, it's actually got a lot of things going for it. So the way I would describe this game is not really necessarily an MMO about endgame and all this, and although yes, there's tons of endgame content and I'm sure that's where you want to be, but it's really focused on a lot of the world stuff. Like the crafting in this game is ridiculous, the trading, there's literal trading, as in like you actually trade goods and stuff between NPCs and different shops and people as well, and there's farms, housing. It feels like a world to me, and the actual world in-game feels incredible. It gives me a feeling that I haven't had for quite a while, so I'm rather excited for this game. I was actually surprised because when I first started playing it, I'm like, oh yeah, generic kind of combat and stuff like that, but I quickly kind of realized as I ended up picking an archer. Can I rotate my character? Yes, I can. So there you can see my bow. So I actually picked an archer, and they have an interesting class system I'll end up talking about later. But first off, so here is where you are after you log in and pick your server. I already have one character. I'm only a level 13, so I can't talk about dungeons or really PvP or any of that. Although I have read up, this has been out for a long time, so I was able to read up on that kind of. And people say the PvP's okay, like it's cool for some of the stuff they got going for it. I don't really understand a lot of the terminology people are using, so I'm assuming there's some other advanced stuff that they got going for that. On the side of dungeons, I've heard the dungeons are kind of, you know, just like any other MMO. The combat in this game is more towards the kind of modern tab target. So, you know, when you're actually fighting, you're able to move, you get mobility, you get different types of stuns and things like that. And it's not just a stat battle to where, you know, you battle until the healer dies and then everybody dies. It's more of, you know, you actually have a lot of actions, and I'll go through all that once we go into the game. So first, let's show you the character creator, which I actually like quite a bit. It is one of the more in-depth ones. So we have 4 races right here, and there's one thing that I don't like, is that 2 of the races are on each side. And so the Nuan, which are basically humans, I would say they're kind of like your generic humans, but they're a little bit muscular, and yes, you can pick females, of course. Females with a little bit more skimpy armor, although this game isn't completely overly sexualized like certain games, especially in the MMO scene, and it's actually rather wow, I screwed up that word. It is rather refreshing to see kind of like actual armor going on instead of just a bikini and boom, you're protected somehow. Then there is also Elf, which is, well, Elfie, and oh wow, there are breast physics. I did not notice that before. So yeah, guys and ladies, yep, they got that in there. And yeah, so elves are kind of generic in my opinion. They're pretty much in every fantasy game. I don't really know what's special about them because I haven't played them. I've unfortunately only had enough time to play one character. So each race also has these abilities, so train for combat every day when they walk, blah blah blah. So yeah, they get extra bonuses for speed and stuff like that. So these guys are on one side, and I believe they start on Nuya, as you see over here on the map. So each race does start somewhere different, including the ones on the same side, so elves will actually start in a different place, and I'll end up talking about that a little bit later. Then on the other side is the Firan, which I picked, which are basically cat people, and I picked a female for obvious reasons, because they're cuter. Awesomeness. But they also can look pretty brutish as well. And so they get some, you know, quicker reflexes and stuff like that, which I kind of like. I picked more of an assassin type character anyways. And they start over on this side of the map, as you can see at Hiranya. I'm going to screw up every name this game has. And then there is the Harani, I think, and they actually start like completely on the other side of the place. And I believe they start in more of like a deserty area, so they're like shorter than humans, but they're kind of like humans. I really don't know. The female kind of has a little bit more interesting figure to them. So they have a lot less hips and stuff. So they're basically smaller people. And so let's go ahead and look at the appearance options. So one thing that bothers me about this is it gives you all these options for the face and stuff. So they got their pre-mades, so you know you can select their pre-made little faces and stuff like that. So yeah, that makes them look like a girl, sort of, in my opinion. So yeah, you get all these different options and all this type of stuff, but there are no body options, so you can't actually edit the body size or anything like that. But overall, I think it's pretty cool. So you can change the skin color and stuff, so you can edit that. And you can also make them look older and things like that, so that's kind of cool. So the face can look completely different, so you can actually go in, you can change the nose sizes and all the different stuff. So there's tons and tons of sliders. I won't go through all of these because they're just ridiculous amounts. And you know, you can actually make a character look pretty different. A lot of these don't do too much, but there's so many sliders that do so many different things that, yeah, you can actually make a character look pretty different. Like on my character, I actually started with one of the pre-mades, and by the time I was done, I spent about 2.5 hours creating the character, but by the time I was done, it looked nothing like the preset, which is pretty awesome in my opinion. Although, there is one thing about this. Me and my sister actually took some time to play around with this, and so you can create some pretty interesting characters, such as who I call Paulina. Yes, this is possible. So yes, if you're one of those types of people that likes to have really ridiculous looking characters, you can do that. Or creepy, one or the other. And then after you do that, you get to pick your starting class. Now, the class system is more of a, you select a base class, but then you select 2 other classes as you level up. And you can switch these classes out at any time you want, including the base class that you choose. So you are not stuck to any of these. Although I do believe they have leveling, so you level each class individually, sort of thing. So the more you play on a class, the higher the level it's going to be, so the better off you're going to end up being if you stick with one. But you can switch off if you want to. And your skill points will carry over to other classes that you switch to, so you can pretty much just be like, oh, we need a healer, I'll just switch real quick, and just switch it off. It does cost in-game currency to switch, but yeah. So let's talk about these a little bit. So here's Battle Rage, which is basically your melee kind of tankish character, I would assume, and you can combine it with any of these, and there are also more, so this is not your limited option here. Another base class is Sorcerer, or Sorcery, sorry, and they're your basic magic dealers. They do tons of damage, and they do have some pretty good CC as well that I've seen, although I am only a level 13, so take that with a grain of salt. Here's Archery, which is the one I picked because I didn't know it was going to be more of a modern type of tab combat system. So it was like, yeah, I want something I can just fight for range, make it easy, right? Because I didn't expect to actually like this game. I love this game now, just for the world inside of its own. Here's Vitalism, which is healers and buffs, I believe. I haven't really read through their skills all too much. Then there's Occultism, which is kind of like a necromancer, kind of undead sort of thing going on. I don't know if you actually summon demons. Oh, there we go. Summon Wraith. I was wrong. You do actually get to summon things. So these guys are kind of like the undead masters. Then there's Shadowplay, which is kind of the assassin class, and they use daggers and bows, and they get bonuses for stuff like bleed and poison. And that's one of the ones I use. And then down here, you enter in your name, blah, 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 blah. And then you create a character, but I already have a character, so I'm going to go ahead and jump into the game. Okay, so here we are in game. As you can see, the UI is kind of big. I probably should have made it smaller, but I think that'll be fine for people that watch this on smaller screens. So here is the world of ArcheAge. I'm actually headed backwards right now just to show you guys this expansive field. This is one of the reasons why I like this game, is that it gives me this feeling of exploration that I really haven't felt from a lot of games. So here we are at a field, and that trolley that came by, you can actually jump on those. Here's one of the waiting stations. This game really has a lot of world building, and they have these huge areas. So let's jump up here so you can see all this stuff. And yeah, there are multiple fields that I've seen in this game already at a level 13 that have these huge expansive fields, and you actually get a pet rather early, so you can, you know, travel pretty far pretty quick. I actually have a run ability. Shoo. So now you can see, you know, huge spaces, huge mountains, and there's also a lot of different varying places that I've seen in this game already, so I really hope it keeps that up. I'm pretty sure it will, seeing as the budget for this game was probably pretty high. The game also looks pretty decent. The game is running on CryEngine, I believe. It does have the CryEngine logo on their website and stuff, so it does run pretty well too. It's a pretty good looking game. I mean, it's not the best. There are some texture work that could be done. Some of the modeling is not perfect. This cat, for one, kind of has a little derpy eye going on. But besides the lower texture quality, which probably was kind of, you know, one of those things that they had to compromise on to keep performance up, I am running it pretty much on max right now, running okay-ish for the most part. It doesn't keep it 60 all the time, but it's probably one of those things that they had to kind of sacrifice to keep up with having it run on lower end machines. One thing I have noticed though is if you do turn down these settings, I have gotten this game up to 300 FPS when I set it to low, so you can get some ridiculous frame rates going on this game. So it is pretty well running, at least on my system. I am only running GTX 660, so keep that in mind, and a 5200 FX AMD card, or not card, CPU. So not a terribly powerful system, but definitely not a weak system, and it seems to run fine. Okay, so as we are running to the next area, there is a lot of traveling in this game, so keep that in mind. If I would have caught that trolley back there, that would have been really helpful. So you do get a mount rather early. I think I got my mount around level 9. And it's actually a really cool idea, because they're not actually mounts, they're pets. So one of the cool things I can do is I can actually dismount, and he'll follow me around, and he'll actually gain XP and stuff like that when I kill stuff and things like that. I don't know if there's any other ways to level him, and he can actually die, so you have to be careful of that. You can revive them. I haven't had him die yet, but I have seen people have their pets die, and yeah, it's a pretty sad thing going on. But yes, they can take damage and they can die, but they are actually pets, and they get these skills down here, so they can actually attack and things like that. So they're not just there to be a mount, like in most games. Most MMOs just like, here's a mount, and then they have maybe a separate pet. So I'm going to jump off the cliff, and you'll see his health bar up at the top left go down quite a bit. But that was a shortcut, it was worth it. His health does regenerate, so yes. Also, they have tons of these little tiny villages. This is kind of expected in MMOs. These are pretty much the places you get quests as you go. I've already done this area. As you can see on my mini map at the top right, I have a green marker. That's actually where I'm at for my main quest. So yeah, let's go ahead and dismount my pet. I should set hotkeys for that. Oh, you can also set it to aggressive and defensive mode once it reaches a high enough level to have these attacks. So it can actually fight alongside you, and that is not class restricted. So here's how you get your quests. You can just kind of talk to them. It has this nice effect to where it just kind of goes onto their face. You can turn it off if you don't like it. But yeah, you can either skip through, or you can just hit G right away. I think that's default key as well. So you just hit G, and then it will just automatically accept it. So you don't actually have to go through all the text. So no more of that click, 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 because I don't care what this person has to say sort of stuff. You're just like, okay, talk to you, quest, got it, move on. I've been doing a lot of that since this is a timed open beta, and I do not have a closed beta key. I decided I should probably do it since it is supposed to release later this month. This is actually getting a wipe as well, so me being an open beta is not giving me an advantage or anything, but I am getting to see the game earlier, and it's actually raised my interest in it quite a bit. So let's go ahead and head down to this next little village, where I'll be able to show you kind of the farm area. So down here, as you can see these kind of weird structures going on. These are actually homes being built, and people have set up little farms and stuff. So in this game, you can actually have your own house, you can build it, decorate it, and you can build your own farms, you can get gates and things. And one of the more interesting things, as you can see in the bottom left in my chat, there's a trial, and it says who is speaking. People can steal in this game. People can, I think, burn houses too. I think somebody was saying something about that. They can commit various crimes. They can commit murder and things like that on other players, may I add. So they actually end up bringing in people for these trials, and most of them are hilarious right now. Most of them are just kind of spoofs, since this is the last day of the open beta, and there's actually a party boat going on over here. Oh my god. Okay. Hold on a moment. We gotta join in on this fray. Oops, I do not want to close my game. That was an accident. Okay, what's going on here? What's going on here? Alright, so this game, I'll talk about this real quick. This game has a lot of social interaction stuff, and it seems like we've got a pretty interesting little party going on here. Let me turn off my UI so you can see what's going on better. Let's go ahead and join the dance. Oh, and you can move while you're dancing, so you can do these interesting little dancing moves. And they are counting down. There used to be a cow up here. I was over here earlier and they had a cow up here. And I was like, I don't know how they got a cow up here. A lot of people are doing these kind of weird things going on. He's got some nice dancing. So one of the cool things in this game is actually the amount of social interaction that's available. There are quite a few things, such as playing instruments. So I'm going to ruin these guys' music and just start playing my little lute that I got here. So everyone gets an instrument. I think you start off with one, and you can just play it wherever you want. It gives boosts and things like that, and it's also pretty fun. Yeah, okay. Gas the cats. Oh no! We gotta get out of here. Okay, I'm having some trouble. There we go. Okay, I just activated my glider. I will have to show you guys that later. Okay, anyways, back to my old subject. There's more cows down there. So over here is a farm. As I was saying, you get your pet pretty early, and it actually does a tutorial to where you basically learn how to raise a pet. So you actually start off with a little tiny pup, and then you kitten, I guess, for my case, and each race gets a different mount, I believe. And basically you grow it up, and then it becomes your pet, and it follows you around, you can ride it and stuff like that. But it actually takes quite a bit of time for the newer mounts, so it's one of those dedication things, and I had a big open field like this for it. And there was wells, you have to clean it and stuff like that. And it's kind of interesting. And this one right here is a public farm. So if I was to go buy seeds, or let me actually check if I have any seeds. I do not. I should go buy seeds real quick. Basically, this is a public field to where you can just plant stuff and then come back and it'll be there, and you just, you know, take care of your crops and stuff like that. And you can get private ones, so all the houses are having like little private ones and stuff like that. And which one of these guys sells seeds? None of them, it seems. Oh, flower seller? So you can buy flowers. Maybe the flower seller sells seeds. Let's see. Nope, they're just talking to me. Okay. One of the problems I do have with the game is it's not exactly direct with who I need to talk to sometimes. Here's a seed merchant. The text is huge. Like, I haven't found a way to make it smaller. So let's go ahead and buy some corn seeds. Let's splurge on some corn seeds. So we'll just go ahead and buy some seeds. So now I have them here. Now I just basically, I right click them and just kind of place it wherever I want. So I want it here. Oh, only certain crops and trees are allowed. Oh, so I can't even grow these yet. Or not in here. Or can I? Nope. Well, that's interesting. Okay. A lot of interesting things going on in this game. So that thing he was using, and I was using it earlier, is a glider. And basically you use it to jump off cliffs and stuff. This game does not restrict you. You can actually get up on top of these mountains. I have done it. I don't think you're supposed to. There's some textures missing. So they might fix that. But yes, you can get up pretty high. And there is an area I will show by the end of this video that you can glide for pretty much quite a while. So I know you can grow potatoes. So let's go ahead and purchase some potatoes. Oh, I'm also going to need water too. Let's see, the well is right here. So you can grab some water from the well. Anybody who plays any type of farming games may actually end up liking this a lot. Some people might see it as a chore though, so I just got a bunch of water from there. Now let's go back here. There seems to be quite a bit of empty space over here. Let's go ahead and plant some. So I go ahead and planted it, so I just planted it. You can only place it above ground, okay. So I think I'm glitched now. I don't know what that's about. Oh, there we go, okay. Fixed it. There are still some bugs. I hope they fix that before the release later this month, because some of them are annoying. So now I've planted it. You can go over it. It'll always have this little glowy thing when it's yours. And so if you plant them all over this place, you'll instantly see, oh hey, that's mine. and you'll just be able to run up to it. You can also uproot, which basically just takes it with you, and you can replant it wherever you want, but it does take labor points. And basically every time you do something like this, or you do any action such as opening bags, so here's an unidentified coin purse, and you open it up, it takes down your labor points, which you'll see down at the bottom left. Basically these kind of just regenerate over time, and they only regenerate when you're online. And so basically it's a way to kind of gate you from doing too much stuff, I assume. It is one of the biggest complaints I have seen about this game in the community so far, so I don't know if it'll have any changes. I personally don't mind it, but I guess that's because it's whatever. I think it's there to kind of stop people from just completely farming up something way too much. And I'm just opening up a bunch of these bags. Okay, so this has 7 minutes left. Let's go ahead and water this maybe? Let's see if we can water it. Where is my water? There's my water. Oops, I wanted to right click it. Right click, and I'll click on it, and I'll just throw a bucket of water on it. That didn't do anything. Okay. Well, there's supposed to be a way you can speed up the process, but I'm sure I'll just leave it. You can plant multiple, I believe. So let's go ahead and walk over here. Seems to be some empty space, so just go that one. I can water this one. Oh yeah, I watered it when I started. Yep, I'm already forgetting what things I've done. And so as you can see, it does have the glowies. So we'll go ahead and grow this one. I have no use for it anymore. Oh, no, I do not want to cancel or destroy. I want to cancel the destroy. Okay, so if you're standing where it is, it won't grow it. So you have to make sure to place it somewhere where it says it can grow. And there we go. So now I have those potatoes. I can come back later whenever I want and just kind of take care of them if I want to. And when they grow, they give you food. You can use the food to either sell it, you can trade it. One of the most interesting things that they got going for this, oh hey, I can actually water these if I want. Yay, I'm helping out the community. Anyways, one of the more interesting things is there are no NPCs that really sell a lot of stuff. That party is really going. There are no NPCs that really sell a lot of stuff, but they do have player trading and stuff like that, and they really do kind of like push that. Let's go ahead and call my pet out here. Go ahead and climb on. Animations are really cool. They kind of push this thing to where everything is crafted by the players, including all the weapons and armors and stuff like that that you trade and things like that. And they do advertise a lot about just kind of like being a world for the players. But one of the problems with this game is that it also has a very generic quests. So like most of the quests are, you know, report to Altura, or go kill 5 of these, go talk to this person, go collect 7 of these, go talk to this person. And so that's kind of like my main problem with this game so far. Now let's go ahead and wander this way. Oh wait, hold on, we'll talk to this person real quick. So as I said before, you can actually change your classes whenever you want. So let's go ahead and click on here. So I am currently an archer, shadowplay, and occultism, which is labeled a shadow hand, I believe, or something like that. I don't know, it doesn't show right here. I believe if I open up my skills it will. Yep, so shadow hunter or shade hunter. Man, I'm pretty bad with my vocabulary, but basically you just click one, let's say that one, you click another one, change skill, and then it will instantly change you. When you are selecting your main classes, when you're selecting your 3 from your skills menu, which is K, or you can go down here and click on your skills window. I actually have a skill point available. It will allow you to pick one for your center and then pick one for your last one, and then it will give you a class description. Now the skills are interesting enough. There's a lot of ones that can play off of each other, and so like for my archer skill, I didn't realize that there was multiple classes in this game. I didn't realize that you picked 3 classes. I skipped over that on the main website for some reason. Anyways, so I picked archer and I was like, yeah, this is pretty cool. But then when it told me to pick another class, I'm like, oh, what is this? And then I saw shadow play, because that was the other one I was kind of debating with. So I'm like, sure, I'll be an archer assassin. And then when they came out with a third one, I'm like, what else would be cool with this? And I was like, oh, this one seems cool because it has stuns and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, we'll go with that. And it also has this wraith. This is the other occultism I couldn't figure out earlier. And you also, I believe you only get a certain amount of skill points. And so you can only put so many skill points in them, but when you put in enough skill points to one of them, you get these big passive bonuses down at the bottom, and some of them are pretty good, some of them are, I'm skipping, like this one, increase ranged accuracy and stuff like that. I'm not really sure if I need that. It does increase crit rate though, so I might actually end up considering it. So let's go ahead and click on that. So to learn skills, you just click on it, confirm, boom, you got it. You can also reset them anytime, so I just say reset skills, cost in-game currency, and boom. So that is not cash shop bound, which is really nice, incredibly nice. Oh yeah, and your pet does follow you around and stuff. It's pretty nice. Ooh, those are bad guys. We want to avoid him. I believe there is open PvP in this game too. I'm not sure if that's because I'm on a PvP server, but I'm not high enough level to actually be in that, so I'm not really too worried about it. So let's go ahead and collect a floating chest. Now the game does have a lot of exploration, so you do end up going through a lot of different areas, seeing a lot of different things. So over there is like a dead forest. I just completed that area. It's got a lot of spiders in here. And then also, it's got a lot of the steampunk kind of stuff. But first I'm going to go down here. So it's got a lot of steampunk kind of areas, and I've already seen that a little bit. I believe that's the other race from this area that ends up having that. And it's actually kind of cool to see those kind of contradicting cultures going on. I know other games do it, but this one actually kind of like makes the areas feel really different. There are certain games that have done it, and it's just like they just kind of change the textures on a castle, and you're just like, okay, that's cool. But this one actually feels a lot different, and you really feel a lot different when you're actually in those areas, or at least for me. I don't know if everyone will feel that way, and some people will be like, oh no, it's not really that special, and some will be like, oh yeah, it's super special. Okay, so I've talked about the world and different things like that, so let's go ahead and do some combat. And I can also talk about the synergy. So you get both melee weapons and ranged weapons. And you can equip both of them and use both of them anytime you want. So here I'm going to go ahead and use my bleed skill, which causes them to bleed, use a charge skill, use my quick arrow skill, and since they're bleeding, I get bonus from one of my shadow skills that just jumps on them, stuns them, and then I can jump away and continue. So those are all skills from different classes. And each class that you pick seems to actually play off each other pretty well. Like they did a good job of making sure different skills from different classes would be useful. So while I'm an archer, I have these jump back skills and these stun skills that I can combine together. I also have one from the occult or occultism, I cannot say that word, that actually impales them, which is essentially a stun. And it pretty much just holds them there. So if my stun is on cooldown, I can use that one real quick while enemies are near me. Or let's say there's more than one enemy around me, I can use it to impale all the enemies and then jump out of there. Or I can also run. So there is also run in this game. So with that amount, you can also run. And it's a skill you get automatically. I don't know if the other races have it, but I know I have it. So there's that. Let's go ahead and kill some things and get some quests done. So I'm going to go ahead and jump on him and boom. And collect. There is also two different types of collects. They tried to make a lot of things easy to do when it comes to grinding quests. There's a lot of things that I like about this as well, but there's also some things that's kind of like, okay, that's kind of a cheater way to do things. And one of those systems is actually you can turn in quests without finishing the entire quest. Yes, you can do that. So basically you turn it in when you have, like, let's say you've killed one of them and you're like, okay, well, I don't really want to do all this because let's say they're 12 levels below me or something like that. That happens a lot of MMOs. Maybe you played a dungeon too many times, maybe you're a completionist and you just want everything done and you got all these quests that's like kill 50 of these and kill 20 of these. Now I don't know if this game will have those huge of a numbers, but right here I have killed 20 of them. So I'd say I can safely assume there's going to be some quests that you might want to skip later on. Now, you can actually just say, okay, I'll just turn these in real quick. For one kill, you'll get less experience, and I believe less money as well, but you'll still be able to collect the awards for the one-time complete, and, well, it'll be marked as complete, so you don't have to actually do it. Now, the other side of that is you can actually go in and do more than what's required. So let's say I killed, instead of just 20, I killed 40. Like I just went full on, I love this quest sort of thing, or I just really need to level up. Let's say you're behind and you got your last quest, it's your last quest for your level. And then you can be like, okay, well, I may as well just grind this one. So you'll just play that one over and over again and just keep getting all this number, and it'll actually increase the amount of XP you get for that quest you turn in. Now I believe it's probably gonna slowly get less and less worth it as you go in, just so that it's not like you just overpower it so much you get way too much experience from one quest. But it is a way to kind of boost up your experience when you're a little bit behind. There's also dailies on these boards that you can see. Yeah, I don't see any boards around here. I'll have to find one of those. But basically they do have dailies for each little area, and you can accept them every day, of course, and you can just completely farm those if you need to. So there are plenty of ways to end up leveling. Also, doing anything from farming, collecting, mining, anything like that also gives experience. So leveling is not going to be too much of just grind one enemy until, you know, you level up, until you hear that ding noise. Okay, let's mount my pet and wander over here. So I have a story quest. This game, I don't know if it necessarily pushes story too much. I haven't found the story to be too interesting. Most of the story seems to have been lore related, and the real story, I would say, is kind of the world around you, because this game is very focused on creating a world for the players to experience. But they do have these cutscenes that kind of teach you about each race. So since I'm playing a Firan, I'm getting the Firan kind of history and stuff every time I talk to one of these guys. So let's go ahead and skip through here so they kind of talk about it, and here's a cutscene.
Elder was determined to become your ally to repay you for saving her life. It reminded you of Tai Yang's partner in crime, the man who'd saved him from the fog assassin and later shared his uniform.
So yeah, so you get the point. I just saved this lady like 2 quests back, and from big giant spiders and all that. Oh man, I hate spiders. Anyways, I saved her from that, and then it continues on, story goes on. And you end up learning a lot about the lore if you listen to them. I've been personally skipping a lot of them. The artwork's okay, and the voice acting is okay, but it is kind of bland. It is in this kind of like documentary style of, yes, this is what happened. This is what happens next. This is what she's talking about, and this is how she feels. And it does feel kind of like, okay, whatever, like, you know, it gets boring to me. But for people who really want to learn about the lore and all that, they might find it interesting. I wish it was more interesting, like, for me, personally, because I do like games with a lot of story and a lot of lore. But I just can't sit there through those cutscenes. Those are long cutscenes. There are tons of cutscenes. They are lower quality cutscenes as well. Like, they are not very high quality. As you saw, I think the videos are rendered at 720p. I am running on a 1080 monitor at the moment. And so everything looks all artifacted. They're pretty compressed pretty well and all that. So yeah, they're not extremely pretty, but the artwork is nice. So you can appreciate the artwork. There was a lot of time that was obviously put into it, and as you saw, there was nice smooth animations kind of going on to keep it a little bit lively. So let's show one of the mount skills that I have right now. So I actually have a mount skill. So this one just shoots my bow at them. And yeah, I wish I had more of them, but I do not. You can also get equipment for your pet. You can use, oh man, I'm getting beat up. Let's go ahead and jump back. He's gonna keep chasing me, so I'll go ahead and use that, and that impales him, and then shoot some arrows. Pew, 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 pew. Boom. Okay, he's gone. Now, what do I need to do? So insert the salvage machine anima into an old capture dealer. Let's go ahead and do that. So you can click on the quest, it will tell you everything about it. You can also click on the map and it'll bing which one it is. And it'll also show it on the map, I believe. Yeah. So when you look at the quests and the quest log, it has these numbers. You can also uncheck them if you want to, and then it won't track it. But the trackers have these little numbers, and you can see around my character it has these little kind of arrows, and it shows which one's closest by which one's bigger. So if I get closer to the story one, it gets bigger. If I get closer to number 2, which is like right over there, it gets bigger. So you know there's an easy way to kind of track your stuff. Now I don't need to track that one because that requires me to run all the way back, and I'm not going to do that. But let's go ahead and run towards number 2. As you can see on the map, it also has little numbers. So for number 4, this is, you know, obtain parts. Actually, let's go do that one. So that's more combat. And that'll allow me to contain more parts or whatever. And it shows this area of where I can actually find these enemies. The areas aren't always accurate, as in like there will be enemies outside of the area, but it is pretty general and you will know exactly where to go by looking at those. And it's been really nice. There's a lot of games that just kind of have this spot on a map and you're like, what do I do? Or, you know, that sort of thing. There's no way to actually click on an enemy and see if you need it, I don't believe. So that is a little bit annoying, but most of the quest is just in this area, kill stuff and you're good. So that is pretty simple. They didn't make that too complicated. And I really don't think that they're really expecting too much of this kind of grindy stuff to really be in the people's minds too much, because the game does have a lot of crafting and stuff like that in it. In fact, let's go ahead and pull up the crafting. Which one is that? I do not know. Is that under player info? No, I believe the shortcut is O. So, oh, this is folio. So this is the stuff that you can make. And oh my god, there is so much stuff you can make. So let's say, just look at farming. So here's all the seed bundles you can make. Here's all the farming tools. Well, there's only one farming tool. That wasn't very good. Let's go to metalworking. So you can get all these different types of armors and things like that. You can also get metal fishing poles. Yes, there is fishing in this game. There's a lot of type of trade stuff. You can also do machinery. This is one of the more interesting ones. So ship supplies, because you can build ships. You can build homes. You can shirt reforging. I don't know what that is. There's quite a bit of stuff in here. I don't even know what it is. There's leatherworking, tailoring, logging. There's tons of stuff. And all their proficiencies are pretty ridiculous. What is that? Oh, this is public farm overview. Hey, it shows my stuff. I didn't even know this was here. So, okay, so there is a protected time. So if you don't gather it within time, it'll just be able to get picked up. These are actually done, so I can go pick those up if I wanted to. I will do that in a moment. But I wanted to kind of show the other proficiencies. What key was that? I don't believe I know what key that is. Well, that's embarrassing. Maybe it's under skill. Oh, it's under skill. Ha! Okay, so here's proficiencies. And so you can level all of them up. I have masonry up a little bit, apparently. I don't know what I built. I believe that was for a quest or something. And I have farming. And these can go up pretty dang high, too. And you don't have to pick and choose either. So you just level whatever you want. Now, instead of doing all this boring quest stuff, because it really is kind of generic. It's just, it is what it is, you know. It's there to kind of fill content, I feel, a little bit, but it is also fun. So it's not one of those, oh, tab click, wait for the thing to die. You do actually get to do stuff, and since I'm playing kind of like an archer and all that, I can die. Like, I got pretty close to dying. I actually died once. Pretty early on though. I think I was level 3. I got eaten by something that was like a level 6 for some reason. But pretty much you can die when you're pretty squishy, so I do end up using my skills. It is fun to use, I would say. It's maybe not as fun as like an action MMO, but there's also not very many action MMOs that have big giant worlds. I do enjoy the combat in this game more than I enjoy it in something like, let's say, Terra or something like that. I am not that big of a fan of that because it ends up actually feeling more grindy than a game, let's say, like this that has other content that's actually really intriguing, in my opinion. Not everyone's going to like it, but if you like the world kind of building stuff, oh my god, this game is pretty dang cool. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn on auto run. I believe there are teleporting scrolls and stuff like that. In fact, there is a book for it. And I actually have it set to a village up here. I will use that in a moment, but I'm pretty dang close to where we need to go anyway, so I'll just go ahead and run over there. There are teleporting and stuff like that, so you don't technically have to run everywhere. Plus there is carriages that go by. We saw one earlier. And you just jump on it, and it is quicker than using your mount and all that. And I could actually use my run ability if I wanted to. So we can see my little glowy things. I know they're over here. Let's go ahead and dismount. You can also see other people that are kind of roaming around here. One of the things that I do like about this game even more though is that you can see other people doing all this stuff. It's not like locked into little tiny cutscenes or anything like that. You know, you actually see people digging up their stuff, watering things. It just makes it feel a little bit alive. Maybe not so much right now for the fact that this is the last day that we have to actually play in the open beta, so a lot of people are screwing around. The party boat disappeared, so I don't know where he went. He probably flew away. That was actually a flying boat. And you can actually craft those. Oh, there it is. Let's go actually follow it for a little bit. Where'd my pet go? Oh, there he is. Alright. They do like to wander every once in a while. Let's go ahead and follow the boat for a little bit. So these are pretty cool. He's kind of roaming around. He has a cannon on it too. I believe these guys are still just partying out. So yes, you can actually craft these things and all that. So this guy's gotten pretty far ahead in the open beta. Well, actually, this is a continuation of the closed beta. So he's gotten that during the closed beta and open beta and all that. And I believe you can customize it quite a bit too. I don't know too much about the crafting of big giant machinery, but I believe you can actually just get all the materials and build it. You probably need deeds and stuff like that, which cost quite a significant amount of in-game currency. I believe there are cash shop stuff for that, but I can't really say for sure. I know that there is a premium kind of membership thing, I think, that allows you to kind of do extra stuff, but I'm not really sure. So I won't talk too much about that. So here's the village that I was talking about. I actually have a teleport thing here. It's a nice little village. And you can actually go inside the houses too. So let's go ahead and actually unsummon my pet and zoom in a little bit. So you can actually go into most of the houses, and houses are nicely decorated and all that. And there are stairs and quite a few of them. And if you ever wanted to like just build a house, because you can actually build houses similar to these. I believe there's a small village quite a far ways back, so I probably won't end up showing that in this video. But there is another village I will end up traveling to in a little bit. So you do end up getting this recall thing. I am trying to find out where it is. I believe it's one of these, so you like teleport to one of these. But there is a thing, basically you just call on it. I'm actually just going to go ahead and use this. So it's a recall spell. It just takes you to your last remembered location. So yes, actually I'm just going to cancel it. Let's just keep going. Oh yeah, and here's crafting tables. So there are crafting tables everywhere. If you own a house, you can just put crafting tables into your house. You have to craft the crafting tables, which is interesting. Pretty much everything in this game that isn't found through quests is crafted. So when you kill enemies, they pretty much drop materials. They don't drop weapons and things like that. So this doesn't become kind of like a loot wars type of thing. It really becomes more of a trading type of game, which I find rather interesting. I do believe you need better skills to actually get certain things. So like right here, so it says proficiency in carpentry, 50,000. So I have to get this up to all the way to 50,000 to actually pick lumber mass production. So there are limitations on that. So there is reason to actually level it up, and I believe it makes it quicker as well. I can't really speak too much for how long it takes to craft certain things, because I unfortunately haven't gotten too far into this game. I'm only level 14 right now, and I believe the first dungeon is at level 18, and they were saying that's kind of where you start getting into a lot of the crafting stuff. So I'm really just touching the iceberg on it. Oh geez, man, they're exploding. Oh, what do they got up there now? Oh, that's a pretty mount. These guys are really having fun over here. And that guy's just flying around in his little glider. Oh yeah, the glider. Okay, I'm actually gonna run somewhere real quick. Okay, so we are past that little village that we were at a little bit ago, and this is kind of the other type of scenery that there is, the more mechanical kind of thing. I believe this is where the other race in this area kind of like plays off of. They're more in like a deserty kind of metalworking type of station. But I'm actually going to head up here and show this board. So this is one of the daily boards. It's a signpost. It's a very fancy signpost, I may ask, or may say. It has a skull on it. And we're going to go ahead and accept this. So over here, all of a sudden it adds to your list and it's like, hey, kill these. And every time the signpost is up, it'll ask you to kill enemies right next to it. So leveling is pretty much set up for you if you want to end up doing that. He's running away. So the enemies only do go in certain areas, and the enemies do only kind of like spawn in big groups and all that. So that's kind of like, okay, if one's dead, just wait for another one to spawn. One thing I did notice earlier in the game, I don't know if this is an issue later in the game, and I really haven't had an issue with it since then, but there were certain bosses to where it would require you to kill it to progress in the main story, and it was always dead. So I had to wait several minutes. Actually, I don't even believe it was for the main story, but it was there, and I like to complete everything. And so, yeah, that may be a problem in some cases. I don't know if it really is for higher level stuff, but for lower level stuff, it could be annoying. So when this game first goes free to play, and it's first released and all that, make sure to kind of watch when you're playing. Try to play when there's little bits of people, or else you're going to run into some problems with the boss quests, or just end up skipping them. You technically don't have to do them either. You can just wander on without them. You can just skip quests. I don't believe there's actually a limit to the amount of quests you can have either. Now let's talk about another problem with that, about how well, it's not necessarily a problem, but it's more of something to be aware of with the way that XP is kind of taken or shared. So right now in the game, there is pretty much first hit gets everything. So if you're the first one to hit it, you get the XP and you get the drops. Now that makes sense to me. I mean, it's fair enough. I would have preferred it to be like, hey, you know, everyone contributes, everyone gets something, but it's not necessarily something that's been in a lot of MMOs or in a lot of games in general. A lot of other types of games actually implement that, even if they're like dungeon crawlers. And so, yeah, I'm not really expecting it to change or anything like that, but it is something to be aware of. It would create more of a competitive type of scene. So earlier I was talking about the whole bosses, waiting for the boss to spawn. I actually, you know, sat there and had to wait like 3 turns, and then as soon as the boss came up, every time, everyone's just like, okay, we're gonna get him, and just everyone attacked all at once, and whoever had the fastest skill kind of got it. Now I didn't know where the guy spawned, and I didn't know that he actually spawned in the same exact spot every time. So after about 3 turns, I realized, oh, I just click here and take it. But at the same time, I'm kind of taking advantage of the whole fact that I'm ranged, for one. I accidentally used a skill I shouldn't have. For one, I'm ranged. Number 2, all my skills are rather quick. And so when you're in that competitive type of little mode going on, you're really kind of left there with, you know, I win if I have faster skills. And people who are like, let's say, heavy mages will be forced to use a lighter skill to be able to get those first hits. Now I believe that will end up kind of like going away once it all kind of pans out and there's a lot more people. Oh yeah, and I did complete that quest, by the way. It just kind of auto-completed, so you don't actually have to go and turn those into a signpost. And I believe a lot of quests are actually like that, unless you actually have to talk to someone. Okay, so now I'm going to kind of go up here. I could walk up those too if I wanted to. I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to show you the glider. Yes, we're going to go all the way up there. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the video here. Actually, no, let's run up here. Yep, so I'm going to go all the way up there. This is like a roller coaster. Ooh, what the hell is that thing? Okay, that's a minecart. Okay, so I believe I've reached as high as I can go. As you can see, my guy is not going up there very much farther. Yeah, I don't think I can go up there. So there's 2 ways you can go down. One, you can take the minecarts. Or you can not be a lame-o, and you can be the awesome type of people that decide their mount or pet can go away and you can glide. That's right, the glider! Anyone who has seen any trailers will actually know what this is. So basically you can turn left and right, you can stop in midair, you can go down, and then you can also drop, which is R, so full glider. That will make you fall. There is falling damage, so if you fall too much, you will die. So you move your mouse forward to go faster, move it left and right to move left and right, hold it back to go back, and you can actually travel pretty dang far with these. The one I have right now, the starter one, is rather slow. I think you can get faster ones, and you can get ones, as there was that guy earlier, you can get ones that shoot down rockets and stuff like that, so they get pretty flashy and all that. So yeah, let's actually see if we can land on this roof. Let's see if that does anything. So I am actually holding up forward. My camera's kind of weird right now. Let's go ahead and fold that up. Ooh, boom. Okay. Ow, that hurt. Alright. But I am on top of a roof. So as I said, the game does not really restrict you. If you can find a way to get there, you can get there. So yeah. Oh yeah. Let's see if you can die while jumping into water. I might actually die in here. There's a waterfall over there. It's a pretty waterfall. Let's see if jumping in water will actually kill you. I'm not the best while using this. That seems like shallow water. I'm not sure if this is a good idea. Let's do it anyways. Whatever. Woo! Oh yeah, so water will still take falling damage. You can also swim underwater. There is underwater combat as well, I believe. So if I'm swimming and I click on one of these guys, I can still use all my skills. It's a little strange, to be honest, but yes, you can use all your skills. I can even jump out of water and all that. So I did that. Here's a waterfall. Man, this is gonna hurt. Woo! So I actually like the water combat. There isn't very many games that actually have that. A lot of games have it, so it's like you're in water and you're swimming, or you're in water and it's just restricted. So that is nice to have. I don't know if they'll actually like have giant ocean levels. There was one level where you, or not level, but area, sorry, one area to where you just kind of go underwater and collect some stuff and then go back to the surface. But there wasn't actually anything that's like, okay, here's water combat for legitimate reasons. So I'm actually curious what's at the end of this waterfall. I hadn't been down here. I didn't even realize there was water over here. So while you're underwater, you can just swim down, you can swim left and right, you can strafe and all that. You can also hold down spacebar and you'll automatically go up. Once you're on the surface, you can jump out. So it is possible to jump out, and I believe you can use your glider too to get some extra jump going on there. You can use the glider whenever you want. I have an option enabled so that when I just jump twice, it'll actually just use it, or you can use it from your hotbar. It's the same with all the other stuff. So it's down here. Woo. Nope. I actually failed using my glider that time. Oh, this is where the cases were. This is close to the other junkyard area. Why don't we just go ahead and go that way then? Okay, so we're just beyond the junkyard that I was at earlier for the story quest. You can see all the stuff over there. And I found another good example of the big fields and such in this game. So as you can see, like, this game is just huge. You can see trees never ending and giant mountains. And it really makes this world kind of feel like a new type of world. A lot of games have been doing this kind of like closed off areas, and this having this big giant field just feels very special to me in a very interesting way. And here's something that we can mine real quick. I'll show you that real quick. It's not too interesting, so jump off my mount. So yeah, you can mine. Yeah, it's not too particularly interesting. I'm pretty sure you'll do quite a bit of that though. Oh, that's somebody else's plant. I'll just leave it. So here we go. You can grab plants from the fields. Actually, I don't believe that's somebody else's plant. I just believe that's plants. So you can actually pick up plants that you find on the field, take them with you. There are trees and stuff. So this is, I believe this is a player home. Yeah, this is a player home right here. So this person's got a nice little setup. They got trees. They have flowers. They have a chicken on a little, little stand. So this person has a nice little home. They have fences around their house. The fences actually serve a purpose. So basically, if something's inside a fence, you can't steal it. Now, it kind of breaks logic a little bit. You could just jump over the fence or whatever. But it is a way for you to kind of protect your stuff in a way. And I believe you can actually climb that mountain. Oh my god, I am so enticed to do so. But I'm going to resist the urge and actually travel up to this kind of city up here. It looks like a big city, so I thought I should show you guys that before I go into the final part of this video. Okay, so we've reached the doorway and we're wandering in. This is a pretty big place. Doesn't have too much in it though, but it does have this giant pond. What is this about? This is pretty cool. Bounce, bounce, bounce. So this seems sort of like a temple, not really a little village. So you can see little tiny peoples. It's go say hi's. Huh, interesting. So this is actually another race in the game. It's not a playable race. Let's go ahead and wander up here and see if we can see some grown up or something. Huh. Oh, I believe it's a child one of these. Interesting. There's more stairs. Let's go up these. Wander around. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Oh, hey, what's in these? What can we do about these? Treasure chest. Nervously? Oh, I don't want to do that. I think that's stealing. We don't want to steal, right? Okay. We will stay away from stealing. That is an example of how you can steal stuff, though. Just wander into a place and steal it. I actually was in a player home the other day when I was playing this, and yeah, I could steal out of their chest, which was interesting. But if you get caught doing that, you get put on trial, and there is prison in this game. They can actually send you to prison. I don't know how the prison system works. I believe your character is just stuck there for a certain amount of time, or you have to work your way out or something like that with your labor points. But I do know it's possible. This is kind of a nice little town. It's got a nice aesthetic going to it. This game actually in general has a nice aesthetic going to it. It feels like a fantasy world. And it doesn't feel like those cheap kinds either, so you know, it's actually well made. I actually enjoy that. I think that's one of the reasons why I actually like this game, is that a lot of these free-to-play games, especially that comes out of, you know, the Asian kind of areas, they tend to all have the same kind of theme, and they all have this kind of like subpar quality. But ArcheAge actually has this feeling of good quality. It just, you know, everything looks like it fits. It just feels right. And the story and lore is actually written pretty well too. It's not particularly interesting to me personally, but I know some people will actually enjoy it. Now, before I go to the ending part of this video, I wanted to go and do one more thing. And during that, I will end up giving my kind of final conclusion on who I think this game is for, who I think will enjoy it, and my personal thoughts on it, which is so far pretty positive. So I will head up back over there. I got some walking to do, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut straight to it. So what do I think of ArcheAge? I think ArcheAge is a really cool MMO. I'm actually rather excited to see it get its full release. I'm actually excited to try out a lot of things that they have from the feature for higher level play. I'll probably end up streaming this game. But who is this game kind of focused at? It's not very interesting on the combat side of things, at least not from what I've played. It does have some interesting mechanics. I do like the class system, kind of picking whatever class you want, and such as that. If you do like the kind of new so-called modern tab target type of combat, then this game will probably definitely interest you. It does have a good take on that type of system, but it isn't something so outlandishly awesome. It is kind of, you know, is what it is. A lot of the quests are kill quests, so it does seem like it could get bland very quickly if you're not into what this game really seems focused about, which is the world building. The world is built by the players. You build your homes, you build the farms, you raise the pets, you pretty much do everything. All the players do everything. They control the trading market. There are no NPCs to kind of, you know, dictate what happens. The game is all built on the players, and it is a really interesting concept, and I really am excited to see it grow, as I have said before. Will I keep playing this game? Yes, I will. I'm pretty sure. Like, after it gets its full release, I will most likely be streaming this game. I don't think I'll actually end up spending too much time in it. I will probably end up playing it casually, as many are, because this game does seem like it'll take a lot of time to actually get into. Now, I did find this spot here. And just to show you how expansive the fields really are, my view distance will not even show the end of this big giant plain. So we are going to go ahead and glide off into the distance. So, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching. I left my pet back there. I'm sorry, Snow Lion. I will come back for you eventually. Wow, I'm actually going pretty far. So yeah, this is a pretty big space. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, or dislike if you really didn't like my views on this game. That's cool too. Or still like it anyways, because I'm awesome. And you know, if you like these types of videos, tell me so. Any Anything else that you know about this game? Anything I got wrong? Anything you want me to add? You know, I do plan on possibly making up a follow-up video on this game quite a long ways away once I actually end up playing it to high enough level. Seems like we are actually going pretty far. I probably should have stopped at that village. They might have water. I'm getting thirsty. Anyways, thanks for watching as always. Peace out.